Well, new developments in the investigation into the Paris terror attacks. Authorities in Morocco detaining a 28-year-old Belgian man suspected of having direct ties to the mastermind of the coordinated attacks in Paris that left 130 people dead. Charles Faddis is a former CIA operations officer and joins us now. Good news, obviously, that we got him, but there are others still out there, Charles.
Yeah, anytime we take one of these guys off the street, somebody with this kind of knowledge, that's great news. Unfortunately, there are a lot more out there, and this organization is very large.
Well, and as you have pointed out, there are a lot of support personnel for every trigger man who goes to a place like Paris and attacks people and maybe, kills himself in the process.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you have an attack on the scale of what we saw in Paris, that's the product of a very large, very robust, very well-organized organization. I would estimate you probably got 10 people in support for every guy that's pulling a trigger.
So the fear is that this year, 2016, could look far worse, despite what we saw in Paris and San Bernardino?
Unfortunately, that's exactly the case. I mean, intelligence and security officials in Europe have been saying for months now, very loudly, very clearly, 2015 may be just a warm-up for what we're going to see in 2016. That's a very chilling prospect.
You had some frightening information about atropine and what the French are doing with it. Tell us about that.
Right. So atropine is an antidote for nerve gas. And what the French have done is they have taken their supply of atropine, or at least a portion of it, out of military stockpiles. And they've distributed it to hospitals and medical centers all over France, which means they don't think it's just a theoretical prospect that nerve gas will be used in France by terrorists. They obviously consider that to be imminent.
So is that more than just a precaution? I mean, would you guess that they have some kind of intelligence about that?
Yeah, I think there's no question they have intelligence about that. I mean, people have been warning about ISIS and chemical weapons for a long time. And what the French are obviously saying is they're taking this seriously, they're taking them at their word, and they expect it could happen more or less any time that you have nerve gas used in Europe by ISIS or another terrorist group.
But where would ISIS obtain it, or would they make it themselves?
It easily can be made. I mean, nerve gas, that technology was fully developed and mature in the 1930s. We're talking about 70, 80-year-old technology. They've got millions of people working for them, universities, lots of money. They can absolutely manufacture it themselves. They don't need to steal it anywhere.
Earlier this hour, we had video of a couple of U.S. airstrikes in Syria where apparently we took out warehouses full of cash for ISIS, 40 million in one case, 90 million in another. Good start?
Yeah, good start. Keep at it. I mean, the unfortunate truth of the matter is, though, that they make more money every day through taxes, through oil sales. I mean, these guys basically control their own country. So they have access to very significant quantities of cash.
And they are far from being a JV operation, it would seem.
Unfortunately, they are nowhere close to JV, and unfortunately, they are probably getting stronger every day.
Charles Faddis, some sobering news there. Thank you, Charles.